Howdy, howdy, howdy. All right, let's get busy. So, I'm working on AI a little bit here. The NPC's behavior and goals and actions and their psychology. I'm gonna be working on some asset modifications and optimizations. So I'm gonna go through that first, probably. Converter. Not sure why this isn't in my hub. This one I didn't mean to open. Needed whatever. So I own a large repository of assets that I've purchased from asset stores, humble bundles. Um, is that tipping over? I think we're good. Can't see both sides. We're good. All right. I've tweaked my mic setup a bit. My camera is definitely way off here. Um, I've been doing just all kinds of little things, but the what you might call it. I figured out a technique to leverage almost my entire repository of assets and make it match the game's art style, which has unlocked basically my entire asset database. I mean, not my entire asset database, but now I can draw quickly from my. So let me get out of play mode here. I can quickly draw from my repositories. So here's all my indexed game assets. So as a collective, I own like 3,264 asset packages. So some of them have been free, or they've been gifts by like the weekly publisher thing, or humble bundles that I bought, or just direct assets I bought from the Unity Asset Store. And Asset Inventory 3 is what I use to catalog that. And I cannot, just harp about it or, oh no, this scene, not good. It looks good, but it's, what you might call it. This is a demo scene for Unity 6. It's slick looking, but it froze my computer. I think, or something did recently. All right, come on now. So let me get out of this scene. This is really pretty though. Like, it's got some good water. I may pull that water. But this package, if you do use this package, it's free from the asset store, but it's for educational purposes only. You can't actually leverage this package in a commercial product, but it's cool to teach you how to set up. Wait. Oh, shit. Stupid fucker. Block. Add to my block list. There we go. I didn't realize there's 3 castles. And this weird. Anywho, that's just a demo scene to show off Unity 6. This is the project scene that I'm worried about. And it has ruined my lighting. gotta disable some render features. Hold on. Yeah, that changed it. What I want is not you. Oh, what is that? Well, importing that demo scene has led to this weird effect. I don't know if you can see it. I think it's a global setting, so I'm going to change it. I don't want to wait for my blood. Ah, yes. Screen space. Crap. Well, just ignore that. That artifacting, that is not supposed to be there. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it. But what's really important here is this. So this asset here is a really great modular asset for building crafting stations from multiple packages and parts. But as you can see, it is quite a lot of geometry. And in my game, I do not need this level of detail. And in fact, another thing too is, let me go here. Every single piece is a separate model, separate game object in the scene. So if you, let me show you this. So I will disable the optimize works. Oops, sorry. So just looking at this table here, that's 308K triangles, 238 batches with a 120 indirect draw calls. Hold on. Let's just hit play. Huh. I actually want to investigate that. I think that demo project optimized things because this was like 256 Shadowcasters and like 600,000 triangles. But we're going to just deal with that for now. I don't have to create a new project, but I might. So if we turn on the optimize one now, and then we turn off this one, it is same thing. As you can see, it looks it looks the same in the scene, right? But it's 78,000 triangles with 4 Shadowcasters. Drastically lower overhead. And I've optimized the textures even to match my style, which is more pixelated. As you can see, more pixelated, kind of chunky pixels. And most of this, there's two assets that I use to, one, I baked all the textures into atlases. Two, I combine the meshes into one singular mesh now, because there's no need for these to be individual game objects in the production state of my game. There's no need for it. Like, this should be one mesh and one texture, one material, and it is now. So what I'm going to be doing is creating more of these workbenches. So first I'm going to name this and then this guy, we're just going to get rid of him. 59,000, 23,000. And then we're going to go to test. When I was figuring out the assets, I didn't name these properly, so now I'm fixing that. Let's go back here. So now I've got everything needed for this guy. Right here. Whereas before, this was so like here's all the textures to create that table, right? Tons of textures, tons of normal maps, a lot of them, a lot of space there, tons of materials, and tons of prefabs to create this individual thing. But now it is. Where is that stored at? Prefab test, okay. It is all a singular set of things. So I'm going to select all these. Import, export. No scripts. And what I'm going to do is export this as a package that I'll bring into my project. So I really don't want to put packages here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to D drive, assets, game, package, exports. I won't do it here either. Ooh. All right, whatever. I'll just put it in the game for now. I'll delete it later. Because after I get it imported, it'll be fine. So now I can bring that guy into my game, the main game. I don't want to wait. This is the first test of doing this. Create another tab project. Crafting stations. Bring this material over here. Textures. New crafting stations. Probably don't need to get this granular with it, but I am. It's just what I like to do. Another thing too is, watch this. Let's see how big it is in space now. .5 megabytes for that 3D model, its textures, the whole bang. So I use Texture Baker to bake the textures and combine the mesh. And then I use PolyFew to reduce the poly count, and 75% is kind of the sweet spot on that guy. So I went from tons and tons of textures, tons and tons of materials, tons of individual parts that are all game objects in the scene, taking up a lot of resources and memory. And this asset in general right here was 4.6 gigs. I got it down to, let's see here, probably a little fatter than it actually is, like 370 megs now, because my game doesn't need the 4K textures. It doesn't need the 2K textures. It doesn't need the HD textures. I am going for a pixelated look. So to achieve that, I actually want crunchier looking textures like this. See, very pixelated. So what my trick is, I take an existing texture and I shrink it down to 256 by 256, and then I make it a point filter on its import settings, and boom, it now matches my art style, and it takes up next to no space in memory and in the project. So this asset, this is a village asset I own, and I converted everything. This is an HD asset, and I've converted it to match the aesthetic that I'm going for. Now it's kind of dark over here, but you got the crunchy pixelated textures like Octopath Traveler, or kind of a retro vibe, but I'm not really going retro vibe. I'm going for just a Octopath-like art style. Hopefully my mic sounds good. I've adjusted the positioning on it and some of the properties. All right. So this is my test level right now. Don't you bug out. Pick it up. Why aren't you picking it up? It's so strange. Sometimes he doesn't pick it up, and I think it's because, well, I'm working on this here, but he should have picked up that log and carried it over there. Instead of a collision-based pickup, I probably will do distance checks. So if they get within one tile around an object, they can pick it up. Or if they're standing on that tile. But I wonder why I didn't pick it up. So let's see why. Because that's not the first time I've seen that happen. Doesn't happen every time. So we need to get to the root of it. Unable, disable. So world item doesn't do JLs. I don't like this. Thought I had a world object manager. Spawn world item. Okay, so the resource manager, it is going to be registered. Is that still playing? No. Let's test that one more again. One more again. Alright, so I'm going to be walking. He's going to go after his thing. Didn't pick it up. Oh, picked it up that time. There's some logging I want to fix here. It's just too noisy. I'm going to add a new toggle. Okay. So we will go to the job runner. Ooh, shit. Oh shit! I gotta remember that noise plays. Jump scares me. Let me go here. Debug mode. I want to turn off. Chose goal. Goodwill. Yeah, controller evaluating goals. That's fine. This one. Debug. Pathfinding. So all the gizmos that are getting drawn when he's walking, I can turn those on and off as well as the logging. Because really, that's not what I'm needing to dig into right now, so I don't want to see that at the moment. But all the lines you see getting drawn are one. I shouldn't have gizmos on over here. Now, see, he didn't pick up the log again. Wonder why that is. Or I think I know why. So basically, he has an action. He decided to do the action of pick up the log so he could complete his job. And for some reason, he is not doing it every time, consistently. Let's see here. Hold on. Dinner's done. I forgot all about that. Dinner. All right, so now that was full. Oh, I didn't say. So now, basically, I have a toggle, some debug settings on the units to help me figure out what they're doing and diagnose the situation that's going on. Thank you. All right. That's more than enough. I'm good. Thank you. I'm gonna walk. So it's drawing the lines. I go here, I disable that. No more lines. Now the green line is his pathfinding from A star, which isn't an asset I control, which is fine. But the logging is now quieter, so I can drill into why he isn't picking it up. So I go to the log, say I move it. Like that. He should. Following path. Get your log, man. He picked it up that time. Now that he's got the log, he's going to go to the workbench. He's going to craft a club. Build completed. So I come here to my debug menu. Oh shit, it's not on. Wonder if he has the log in his inventory. Yep, so here, or he used one log to craft a wooden club, and that, so he added the wooden club to his inventory, and he picked up 5 logs when he picked up that log over there. Now, so I need to add a container, like a chest, into the game world, and he will then, he has another action that he can perform where he will drop off of anything into a container. So he should take that wooden club he made and put it into the base's inventory. All right, so that's all working except for sometimes he doesn't pick up the log. I need to figure out why that is. Well, I need to, the pickup action is doing, this is bad right here. This, I shouldn't be trying to find all the game objects of world item. What I should be doing is going to the resource World items get registered in the resource database, but it does not act as a or singleton. No, it does. Resource manager. Oops. So I would go get or get world items. For each world item, I wouldn't. World items are objects or items that are on the ground in the world. So, say you drop something from your backpack or an NPC, or you harvest a tree and it drops a bunch of logs. When you see an item physically in the world, it has a world item prefab to represent it. Now, this list shouldn't ever get massive. It shouldn't. It should never be a giant list because there's not going to be a ton of crap on the ground. But the players do have the ability to just dump stuff all over the scene if they wanted to. So, one, I think this should be a dictionary. And I need to introduce the concept of the local map in quadrants. So this map would get chopped up into, well, it wouldn't get chopped up, but so right now I got a massive grid. This is way bigger than I was planning on letting you the local maps be. (100 by 100) feels pretty small when you look at it. But again, the scale of everything right now is super massive. But that's kind of what the local map, when you got your planet, and then you got local maps, and you can go out to the planet and travel between local maps. It just doesn't feel very big. So now it just forced me onto that grid. But I mean, 100 by 100 is a significant map. This makes it look small, but this is also a giant Unity terrain that is not going to be. One, this will keep me to where all my local maps are, I can keep the resources low, and it's not, pathfinding doesn't get crazy expensive. It's easier to design. When I do a non procedurally generated local map, I can focus on creating a really detailed environment in this space. I shouldn't ever need something bigger than 100 by 100, really. This makes especially whenever I have like 20 or a bunch of people pathfinding across it. I don't want to have performance hits that come from that. But no, so I will divide this into quadrants or zones. Probably 16 by 16, and that way, instead of there'll be a list of quadrants. Anything that gets dropped in that quadrant gets added to its world item list. So instead of iterating over every single world item that is possibly across the entire map, you would just iterate over the quadrant that you're in and keeping things performant. And again, I could just make this a dictionary, and for the local map, put all of the world items in it. but look up, trying to just find the one item that I'm trying to interact with that's nearby. Uh, and again, dictionaries are almost instantaneous lookup. But if I don't know, if I'm trying to find a world item that's near me, I want to filter this down. For now, I'm gonna just convert this to work with the world item list. So for each, so resource manager instance world items. The world item transform. Doing a square magnitude is basically like a distance check. Right now, there's no login in here unless there's an issue. Well, it does log that they picked it up. But I want to add more verbose logging to actions. So I don't want to win. I could just add to the scriptable objects here. So like, public bool enable logging. Because eventually I wouldn't want all these logs to be firing off for everything, right? I want to control it from a centralized spot. So now every AI action so if I'm working with or trying to troubleshoot any of these actions now, I can come to the scriptable object and enable logging on it, and I will get detailed logs that are telling me what's happening with it and why. That way it's easier for me to figure out without having to debug. And this doesn't make sense because basically the NPC is like, oh, I am going after any world item. Like, No, this is only executed after. Start craft job. The job runner actually is what is. This is what's kicking off the player to move. And again, just to keep myself sane. I'm going to add extra logging here so I can figure things out. So every NPC will have a job runner. I want to be able to see this in the inspector easily. Oh yeah, wait. Let me see what this. Quick divert from this. Where's it at? Shit. So here's the optimized butcher's table. That is very well optimized in a single mesh instead of all these little things being individual meshes and game objects. It is a single mesh. Okay, so I'm going to finish putting this up where it should be. So if I go to my prefabs, crafting stations, butcher stall. Now here was the other one. Here's how I brought it in before, and see how many assets it takes just for that butcher table. And now it's a singular prefab with a singular material with one mesh and an atlas texture instead of tons of textures. So I'm going to get rid of the old one, but I need to. Where's that? Here's the old one. Just gonna delete it. It doesn't need to be here anymore. Actually, hold on. Let's see something. 43 megabytes for that butcher table compared to the 2.5 megabytes of the new butcher table. That's how optimized it is. And this butcher table has tons more detail and props, as you can see. Like if I put this back, hold on, and bring it over here. So before and after, 45 megabytes, tons of individual parts. So every single thing's a game object. It has a transform. It has a mono behavior. It's doing, for every single physical or game object, there's some overhead associated with that. But now, whereas this is a bunch of, kind of curious how many polys this one is, but they're probably equatable because this one has a lot more detail, but it is a single mesh. And this one is a ton of meshes, highly unoptimized. So we're going to say goodbye to it and hello to the new bad boy. I'm gonna add it. So again, I'm working on crafting and AI right now, so I'll keep this guy in here. I'm gonna create a rest or a crafting bill and recipe for this guy to have the NPC pick up raw meat, pick up some herbs, and have him go craft something at this thing too. And I also need to make it to where I can craft with it. So I already have my crafting interface to craft with, but I need to create triggers and logic to when I go near a crafting bench that I can open up the crafting UI. But I will do that shortly. So let's flatten some terrain out. Just to get a nice flat area to work with so I don't have to keep moving stuff around and it's not floating. I'm going to create a better workbench too. This one's just really basic. I'm going to use my notes app that I built. Oops. AI to do. Being picked up each time. Butcher table. First, I'm going to try to get this fully resolved. So I added a collider onto this because I believe that it was going to need it, but actually, I'm not actually using colliders. And again, this is another way I can keep this cheap. So if I hit play without the collider on the world items, if I'm just doing distance checks or cell checks on the tile grid, I can prevent the overhead of a physics collider being used for this interaction. All right, you gonna pick it up this time or no? Picked it up. Now he's going to the workbench. So I need to create a point that they actually path to for the workbench that is will always get them, land them right in front of it. Two, this workbench is not on the tile grid probably properly. So now he's made the wooden club and he's going to eat that floor sandwich. That's all I give my NPCs is floor sandwiches. All right. Now, world items are using a quad and the icon, so I don't have to have a 3D object for world items either. But I need them to intelligently keep themselves from going into the ground. That's another thing. Which again, and then whenever you drop like I'm gonna do, I'm almost gonna make them hover too. So like when they're in the world, they'll just be like kind of doing a sine wave hover, and that way they draw more attention to themselves. But I'm thinking whenever you drop multiple items into a grid, it's going to, they'll stack on top of each other up to like 10. So you can visually see what is right here in this space, right? So they'll stack, 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 stack. And after like 10 stacks, it'll go into a generic object. And then you would just pick, if there's more than one object occupying a cell, I think it would look good, the stacking. And then if too many objects are dropped on a cell, you would mouse, it would turn into a bag object. And when you mouse over that bag object, it would, a tooltip would pop up to let you know what all's sitting in that cell. But you can visually just see it as you walk by. Also, when there's going to be a player setting, you can say auto pick up items. So if I were to walk to this thing, it would just automatically pick it up for me. And, or you can turn that off and manually pick up items. And I may even get it to where you can filter out, exclude certain items from getting picked up, or maybe that you have an auto pickup. No, I don't want them. I think automatically pick up if you walk over it. Or I could just have like an interaction key. If you're near an item, you would pick it up. That's probably best. Let's see if he picks it up this time. He did pick up one of them. He didn't pick up the other one, which makes sense because one is 5 logs. And now he's going to go make the item. Now, does he eat those or does he put them in his inventory? He should eat them. Hold on, let me get my debug menu up. Yeah, he eats the sandwiches. Oh, he collected the other logs. I wonder why he did that. Interesting. Because if there's no bill left to craft, which again, another debug thing I need to have is bills. Okay, yeah. So here, this entry right here should fall off when he crafts the wooden club. That should fall off. So let's make sure that's working real quick. So he's gonna go pick up the log. He's gonna go to the crafting station. And he's gonna craft it. One produced so far. Ah, it did not fall off. Well, so like in Rimworld or Fortress and games where you can create a bill on a workstation, there's the if it isn't craft or maintain X items. So sometimes like for food, like the food crafting stations or the butcher table or whatever, or the oven and whatever, your NPCs need food and you need to tell them to constantly keep at least 50 food in the base. So the crafting bill needs an option to basically say, I want you to craft one club one or this thing one time, and then the bill goes away. And then there's a bill that you can also say if we have less than this amount of item in the base, keep crafting this or whatever. So that would be interesting. Well, it's just common functionality I was going to get to anyways, but it's not there yet. Um, like right now, he is not picking up the sandwich. And this comes down to the square magnitude logic. And I wanted to add logging to this. And I don't think I even need to do square magnitude. If the NPC has reached his destination and he is on the same cell as the item he's after, turn on this real quick. See, he's in the cell. Well, the sandwich is not centered. That's probably not helping. Because if it's not, again, world objects, I need world objects to snap to their grid position. So let's see if he picks it up now that I've moved it. Now he's calculated a new path to it, and he picked it up that time. Yeah. So I believe part of the pickup problem was the square magnitude was not, well, it's just not the right way to detect if it needs to pick it up. And once I've determined the object that he wants to pick up, I shouldn't even be iterating through world items. I should just keep that stored. And then once he's in the same cell as that item, pick it up. Easy math, not no physics engine needed. No colliders. Because of how polymorphic this is, it's kind of tricky to understand what's happening. So I could add logging to debug this, but I don't think that's what I want. If unit dot grid units should probably have their cell position as an accessible variable. Every unit's got a reference to the grid graph. I don't like that either. I mean, especially since this is, yeah, no, no reason to have that because that creates extra memory for each of those classes. So we are going to get rid of that. Snap to the nearest node and block it. Now I'm going to use this logic. First, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm still on the fence about doing target prediction. I'm going to leave those there for now. Let's see how many errors that spawns. So world items. There's a lot of data associated with a node graph. I could just store the X and Y. But if I don't have to constantly go find that node, I just get it once and done. Target position. don't want that here. So this is just going to be I don't need this land all. So this will snap the world item to its node position on startup. So I'm going to test that out. So if we look at the grid, come on, computer. So this obviously is not in the middle of a tile. Neither is that guy. And I'm going to take this log, put it here. And what we should see when I hit play is these guys will snap to the center of their closest grid position. That did. Is this not a world item? Oh, this is a... okay. Well... those aren't world items. But you can see here we have an issue. It did snap, but it puts it in the ground. So what I want instead is y plus 1 probably would be good enough. And that way it would snap to the node, but not hide itself in the ground. And instead of having to, so typically the way you can handle that is ray casting down till you find something that it collides with and then adjust it. But I can avoid even that physics call because the pathfinding grid. So now I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to put him below the ground. This guy is already off the grid. If I hit play, these both should snap to themselves and be visible. Did I minus one? Where'd they go? Oh, there. Where the fuck up here? Oh. Interesting. That's so interesting. The pathfinding grid doesn't do floating point precision calculations, so its grid positions are stored. So here, 2000, like it's way up here in the air, like way up here. But if you cast it to vector 3, it seems, because that's what I was doing. So vector 3, grid pause equals. Yeah, so when there must be some logic under the hood that's firing off here. Now if I do this, basically it should have been, it's converting, it's basically timesing the position by 1,000. So a grid node, its X and Y value. So if it's at 1, 1, it's at 1,000, 1,000. Because integer math is way faster for pathfinding than floating point math. So this should work. If not, I'll have to scale it out myself. Should though, because it seems to auto do it. I need to delete this guy. Take him randomly in this direction. So he's not centered. The other one's under the ground. And now they should both snap to their positions. Beautiful. So we go to orthographic, top view. Well, shit. We can see they're both at the center of their nodes. So now let's see if he picks them up fine. Yeah, square magnitude's probably failing again. So obviously square magnitude's not how I want to do this. I'm gonna, now I have the world items have their current node. And the units have their current node, even though they don't share it. I gotta get rid of these getters and setters. That's not what I want. Unity doesn't serialize those, right? I need to clean this up, actually. But I'm going to create a method. So now if I go to pick up object, so if unit dot current node is equal to world item dot current now I need to create this method. I almost think I need like a generalized now we can get rid of the square magnitude math and just use the nodes that are already stored. Never used. Get out of here. Eventually, I will break this world item list up into chunk, or they'll be assigned to their chunk of the map. So I'm not parsing through every single item out there on the ground. For now, though, this is fine, but I'll leave it to do. If it was a dictionary of world items and the graph node was stored with it, that would be an instantaneous lookup almost too. Well, yeah, that actually, because again, I still do think I'm going to break up the map into chunks, so I will have that data. So that may end up be the ultimate thing, but the dictionary would have almost an instantaneous lookup if I was saying, give me the dictionary item that matches this node. Yep, yep, yep. I don't want to wait. All right, so let's test this change and see. He should pick it up now every time instead of sometimes when the square magnitude falls through. But don't call me. I won't call it until I see it. Well, totally worked. Not. I'm going to put a breakpoint here. I'm going to attach to Unity. I wonder if he fails to find if he fails to pick up action once, if he ever goes back to try to do it again. He should, but it doesn't appear so. All right, so now I'm going to stop. I'm going to start again with the debugger attached. I feel so fancy today. Like I never have dress-up shirts on, or dress shirt, or button-up shirts. It's not even that fancy a shirt, but you know. Didn't even hit. Oh, wait. No, wait. He did pick it up that time. No, I didn't. Oh. Two things. One, the parent object and the log are offset. That could have been part of my problem. So let's try that again. So they were basically, the pivot for the parent was over here, when the quad was over there. Okay, they are centered. Following path. Job runner. Maybe job runners is not even trying to go to the pickup action. Yep. It's right here. Okay. So he wasn't actually using the pickup action. He was using the handle gather transfer. So I got to fix it here. Now this find closest item of type is actually probably okay because this is where the square magnitude makes sense. He's obviously pathing to it, but then when he does the actual check to see if it's within tolerance of the square magnitude check, and this is where I want to say I may change this method, but this works for now until I see that it doesn't. I don't want to use pathfinding because that's too much. Yeah, no. Well, that could get weird because say there's a lot of walls and stuff, like he's in a dungeon and he's trying to find an item that's through like 3 walls. But well, he would path to it. That would still work. And he would be the closest item of that type to them. But I almost think there should be a line of sight. No. I'll worry about that later. This typically all this NPC logic is only ever going to fire off on the map that you own and you have a base on and you're doing stuff on and you have ally NPCs. No other maps other maps may need it in the future. I'll think through that, but not really important now. So now that I fixed that, saved. So square magnitude to find the closest object near them. Oh, come on, for the love of Jeebus. Just pick it up. I don't want to hurt you, but I will. I bet you my node stuff is probably. Oh, I bet you I know what's going on. so I can quit checking it. Save during play. So we're using transform position. We get the log. Now we're going to step into each one of these. Actually, we're going to do this. Oh, this is saying node. Oh, darn it, darn it, darn it. Yep, okay. It's just saying is node equal to node, and technically that should work, I would think, but maybe not. Let's see if that works. And again, I think it's overkill storing the node, and I should just use the graph to get the position and save that. I'm gonna change up to that, because the world items don't need the complex graph node object just to be able to store their information. They don't care about any of the data on it. They just care about their X, Y, and Z. So it's overkill. So it's not ideal. Picked it up. And we're off to the races. Now I'm going to go to the crafting bench and add enough items to it where it'll keep crafting and see if he'll run through them. Target amount. So if there's 10 logs and he's crafted 1, 9, or wait, 10. And he's going to keep crafting, I believe. I hope. Well, now I probably just confused the shit out of him. And this too probably suffers from that square magnitude issue. So let's change this to 10. And then we'll hit play and see if he can handle, because there's 5 logs in each log stack, and I've got a request for 10 wooden clubs now, so I would love it if he just kept picking up items until he had what he needed. So he made one, and now he's just like, which I think he keeps trying to path back to, because again, we would see a green line for him if he was trying to path anywhere, but he's trying to path to that workbench. And again, I bet you it's suffering from the same issues. Now it switches to storage gather. Really, do I want NPCs to gather from the ground items? Or should they only... Yeah, I think they should only go after stuff that's in a storage container. Because I am responsible for picking up world items. They are... And that way, they just need to go after the storage container that you put stuff in. Yep. And that way, I don't know, I kind of like, because I'm going to have them be able to chop trees down and all that too. But their directive there would be to haul items to storage. And then crafters, anyone that decides to do crafting bench work would only do it if a storage container contains the items needed. Otherwise, they would Haul objects that are, yeah. Objects on the ground should get hauled to storage. That's how that should work. Now I gotta create a storage container. And right now I've actually got the concept of like Rimworld with storage zone. And I don't like that. Like, because in Rimworld you can specify an area on the ground where they will store stuff. But no, not doing that. So now I gotta change storage containers. There's a litany of work here. Yeah, this is gross. Don't want it. So storage zone is going to get refactored to storage containers. I wish I wouldn't even started down that path. Let's do this real quick. See if I can quickly analyze and figure this one. Do, 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 do. farming zone is still needed because you can designate. I can drag select a farming zone, and that's why I kind of went with the storage zone too to kind of mimic Rimworld. But no, 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 no. And with farming too, instead of you having to individually, like, say you can designate a farming zone, and then you can choose to have your character work that zone, and he will automatically till up the spots and plant whatever seed you've configured. You can do it by hands, click till, click till, click till, plant, 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 water, 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 or you can just sit back and let your character do it if you don't have an NPC who's got the ability, or you don't have any NPCs to work with you. Because again, I just, like, you're gonna be able to farm, right? But I don't I don't really enjoy like the manual labor of that, like managing all the plots and water and tilling them. I'm a employed dad, like gamer. I want there to be a high level of automation in this. Your character still has to exert their energy, their time, and their effort, but you ain't got to click a bajillion times. You can just drag select a farm zone, and you can just tell your character to work that zone, and then you can, until you press an input, he'll just keep doing that. And then you can, whenever you want to take back control, you just press a key or whatever, and he'll go out of auto zone automated automation mode, and you can control him again. And in Rimworld, you have these farming plot. There are these like rows, and then you put those in, and you say what plant, and then they plant them. But you don't have to gather seeds, I don't believe, unless you got like heavily modded. It's been a while since I've done farming in Rimworld, but this is more of a mix of Rimworld and Elin, or like Stardew Valley type farming. But again, I'm not. You can select a bunch of trees to be cut down, and you can have let your NPCs do it, or you can have your protagonist, because you have a main character that you primarily control. The camera will always follow them. Your NPCs will see that you want all these trees cut down, and yeah, they'll go over there and do it. But you can just put yourself into AI mode, and you'll start chopping down all the things that you want done, and then you can take back control of your character, and stuff like that. So the grind's still there. You still have to work things, and it takes just as much time, but it doesn't require you to click, 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 and have, carpal tunnel. Yeah, I want to make this friendly to employed dads or employed people. It could be mothers. So let's go to inventory or items. Where is the storage zone? It's in the world, but it's not pertinent no more. So, oops. So here's the project plan. Phase 1, create that new object. to phase 2. So there'll be a reference to the actual chest item. No, I guess it's already there. Still not really hip on this being where this stuff is stored. But I can change that later on. Z. Well, that is done. Find closest storage. So whenever I do a creative project plan like this, I have it updated as we go. So phase 1, phase 2. And then phase 3, update area to use new storage finders. So that's what I've already kind of moved to. Player interaction controller, and then item spoilage manager. Okay. We will do that. So the haul items, we're going to not do this. So this is going to be, so first we're saying we're looping over world items. Is it inside any storage zone? Player interaction controller. I don't think I actually had it to where I was doing storage zones yet. Okay, so that's good. Now spoilage manager. Good. So now spoilage manager will also check the containers and will spoil any food in there that is aging, right? All right, we making progress. Slow and steady, but we making progress. This plan went off the rails, so let's go. That's all done. We need, so when an NPC is going to haul an item to a storage container, also I don't want this. restroom real quick, guys. Give me just a second. I'll be right back. Bathroom break. Don't go nowhere on me. Don't you do it. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Continuing this escapade. All right. Rebel ice cream. 0 sugar. And it's pretty damn good. Three servings, total of 620 calories. I eat this between like 4 or 5 sittings. It's my sweet treat. That doesn't really... If you ate the whole thing, it'd be 49 grams of carbs, but no sugar. And there's 9 grams of fiber in it. I don't know, it tastes really good. So this before was basically saying, is there an item that I should haul to a storage zone? And the concept of a storage zone was tiles, NPCs would put items in an area, a square on the grid that you designate as storage. We're not doing that. So I don't even think I need this check here. See, the kicker here is you're on your base map. I don't know, a bunch of monsters come or spawn or raid spawns, right? And there's a bunch of loot all around. You killed all the enemies. Your NPCs hope you kill the enemies. Now there's a bunch of loot on the ground. NPCs, if they just automatically start hauling any world items that are on the ground to a container, it doesn't, one, you don't get a chance to review what's on the ground. And maybe you don't want those items in a container, or you just don't care. I don't even know if items would despawn. An item left outside of a container. I think in Rimworld, you have a haul action or a haul tool, which you can designate items to be hauled. I don't think they'll automatically go after them. So this means I just need to check a flag for the world item. If world item dot haulable, that's more informative of a name. So if it is not assigned to be hauled, and I'll have a drag tool where you can drag across the items on the screen. To assign that, to flag them as haulable. Or continue. All right, yeah. So we're going to add this property field. I guess I'll be diligent. This is a good practice. Basically, serializable fields are exposed to the inspector. I'll Also, I want this to be vector 3. We're going to rename it to item position. No, I don't want that. Just in case I allow world items to be off grid. So we no longer need to do this. So now I have a way to set an item to be hauled. I need to get a setter. Instead of letting tons of scripts just directly manipulate this property, with a getter and setter, I can kind of have a centralized point, and I can put a breakpoint on here. Now I'm no longer looking for, I guess I do need the get item def. So if it is to be hauled, we're going to loop through all the items. We're going to find the one that has the closest distance to the unit, and they will pick that one as their whatchamacallit item to be hauled. Let's rename this to I think that's an integer. This is, you know, whatever. A little more work, but it's cleaner. Yay for breaking changes. So we have 0 references to storage zone. So now I'm going to delete this bad boy from the scripts. Goodbye. And that should complete the storage zone to storage container refactor. So we have no build errors, which is good. Now I need to make a storage container prefab. Do I have a chest is a question. No, I don't. Well, I was working on a chest, but this is a 2D chest, and it's yeah. I'm gonna do a 3D chest. Let me put this ice cream up, and I'll be right back. 2 shakes of a tail. Don't go nowhere. let's find us a good chest. Real good, upstanding chest. So asset inventory 3, prefab, chest. That's a good chest right there. Not the chest we're looking for. Oh. No longer available, is it? Let's see if I can download it. Okay. I may have to, if this lid doesn't open on it, then I might grab a different one that's already got that functionality. But I like I like the look of that chest. It's got some pizzazz, if you know what I mean. So the way asset inventory works is once you find an asset in an asset pack, you need to make sure it's downloaded into the cache at least, and then you can drag and drop it to where you want. I'll do this. Now what it's going to do is it's going to bundle it up into a folder, and then you're going to have oh cool, it's already got an atlas. The material in the prefab, that's fine. So I'll show you. That's kind of an extravagant. That yellow is very yellow. And I don't believe that this is a single mesh. Yeah, without a lid. It's fine for now. We'll keep it. Well, do I care if the lid opens? Not really. It's just some extra flair, but ultimately NPCs and my interactions with it. We'll worry about lid animation later. It's got a low polygon count. It's Atlas. The texture's already Atlas, so I ain't got to worry about that. Now this is the trick I'm going to show you. This is how I get it to be, because this is a 2K texture, 2048 by 2048. To get it to be pixelated and crunchy, this is all I do now. This works for the most part. I rescale the image to 256 by 256. Control Alt W or Control Shift Alt W, export. Now it looks all grody now. Well, it's lower resolution, but it looks not pixelated. So the next step is on the import settings here. You want to go to filter mode and go to point. Boom. See how fast you can take any texture in your repository and turn it into a crunchy pixelated thing? That little trick right there has unlocked most of my assets to match the game vibe and art style I'm going for. And it has the added benefit of, instead of me having to have a project full of 2K textures and 4K textures and 1080p or HD textures, I got just these itty bitty. What is the size of it? Well, I didn't catch the before size, but this is gonna be minuscule in size. And now it looks like it kind of matches the grass and all that. Let me get ortho mode and turn off gizmos. This ground texture isn't as pixelated as I'd want. You see the grass is crunchy, the grass texture is crunchy, the water crunchy, very crunchy. And that's the vibe I'm going for. So that means everything, every texture in here is going to take up next to no memory. I can have shitloads more objects in the scene. I can worry less about density of game objects and things like that. I really shouldn't eat carrots on stream. They're kind of noisy. It looks like it's triggering the peak meter. I'll refrain after this carrot. All right, so now how So now I'm creating the actual container game object using my item editor window. So I have a container category, and there's this concept of allowed item categories. And this really is something the player would configure and say, hey, these items are allowed in here. So by default, it's going to be empty. And if it's empty, then everything is allowed in there. Now, again, I don't think I have this actually logicked in there. But containers are going to have a UI to allow you to, because say you want to organize, well, let me take that back. And again, this is employed dad gamer wanting to make life simpler. So normally when you're building your base in a game, which again, you're going to have your base map that's yours that can get rated, and all kinds of stuff can happen. So say you got, containers here, there, everywhere. Normally you have to open up the container interface and you have to search around your containers to find an item that you want, right? It's a lot of clicking. And I don't find it fun. So the way I believe I'm going to make containers work for your non-player inventory. So you're going to have your player inventory, and then you're going to have your base inventory. And what placing new containers will do is increase the capacity of your base inventory. And your you can open up the base inventory from any of these containers, and it's going to bring up the same inventory screen. So you don't have to organize crap in different containers. And I don't know, some hoarders may love that shit. I don't. So I'll illustrate this point a little better here. I don't find it fun, and I hate when you got a big base, tons of containers. You're like, where is that fire crystal at? What? Edward Scissorsocks? I'll be back later. Got to take my large sister Kevin to sort of get some beef foam and fish paste for sandwiches. If that is not a trolling statement, that is a very weird statement. All the respect for the fish paste, the beef foam. But here, okay, this container's got this crap, and then I can go, or this container's got this crap, but I don't find this fun. I don't like it. It's a lot of crap. It's a lot of clicking and dragging. I would rather you have every container expands the amount of items you can have at your base, and you have this really powerful UI like Sky UI, which I'm modeling the UI inventory of, where you can easily filter down things and quickly filter crap. And then you'll have an auto dump. So you go out in a venture. Yeah, this isn't my game here. No, this is Elin. This is my game right here. So I'm building a game inspired by Elin and Rimworld. I'll kind of show you what it looks like at the moment. So it'll have, this is one of your NPCs. He's going out, he just picked up a log, and now he's going to go make a wooden club. And I was working on the containers for your character in the base. But the way it's colony sim, life sim, kind of, if you want to think of it that way. You start a new game, you procedurally generate a planet, and then you pick where on that planet you want to go. And then this map here is your local map. So say this is the spot on the planet that I picked, right? The procedural generation data would form the land and whatever, and I would have to work the land and make my town or what base and all that. So this is kind of what your base will look like. So right now, what I'm just working through the NPC's logic. So that guy right there is an NPC in my base. And I'm getting some crafting station logic going and some world objects and all that. So I'm fleshing all that stuff out. But thanks, man. Yeah, it's going to be a bad mofo. So I'm going for that Octopath Traveler visual style. But like you just saw Elin, that 2D game. And I don't know if you played Rimworld, but Yeah, I'm a software engineer. I do factory pharmacy automation and by day. So I I create a lot of hardware and software that is used to run pharmacy factories and mail off drugs to people. So if you get your drugs in the mail, there's a good chance I had a hand in it. But at night, by night, I'm a game dev. Game dev's where my true passion's at. But this is Rimworld. This is a visual style of Rimworld. And then Elin, this is Elin. So the visual style of it. But I'm going to be targeting kind of the Octopath Traveler vibe.
Awesome to the max.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thanks for the follow. Hey, Adams, how's it going?
Awesome to the max.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks a lot. I couldn't see what that last alert was, but so that's the vibe I'm going for. Elin plus Rimworld with Octopath Traveler stylings. And I've really started to really nail the art look. The grass, I zooming out too much the level of detail there, but so, and again, like I'm thinking your characters are going to be kind of like chess pieces, right? So when you do combat right now, you kind of walk up and you can melee hit them and they'll attack, and there's an attack particle effect. And eventually you'll see your weapons in your hand and all that stuff. But as of right now, I'm really going for depth of features over graphic fidelity. So I'm probably going to stick with billboard sprites like this. And really just focus on freedom of the player's freedom of to do all these things. So if you watch reviews on Elin, I think I'm leaning more towards that, and but it's got the Rimworld aspects too, the colony and all that. Again, Elin has Rimworld-ish features, but that's what I'm going for, and I've got a lot really done already. I'll give you guys a quick rundown. So if I go, let me save this scene. I'll show you planet generation and then character creation screen, and then get back to it. I've been in love with game dev since I was a kid, man. And programming. I've always known what I wanted to be and never second guessed it. I've just always known game dev was the life for me. So this is a procedural world gen. It's still in progress, but this will give you an idea of what it looks like when you start a new game. You would set the world generation settings, and then it would generate a world for you. And then as you, this one's a really watery world. I was hoping for more mountains. Then you can pick on here which one. So this thing here, did I delete that texture? Am I upside down? I don't know. What the hell? Oh, I deleted the grass. Hold on a sec. I was doing some cleanup and got a little too zealous. So as you click around, this represents the local map data, the procedural Perlin noise. And as you can see right here on a mountain, it gets real hilly, the procedural data there. And you're going to pick where on the planet you're going to start your game. And you would then go from here. The road generation right now is really bugged. Road and river generation is where where I left off at. Because right now it's building roads across the ocean. But basically, the roads try to connect procedural factions or settlements that get made on World Gen. So it'll create a bunch of different factions and then give them settlements. And then you can use the roads. If you travel across the road, you would move faster and all that, but the road shouldn't be crossing oceans. I got to improve that. And again, the proceed if you want to start up here in the snow tundra, or you want to do it here in a grassland or in a mountain or a desert, you can. You can pick where you want to start. But this screen's in progress, not done yet. And then the character creator screen, you would get to pick your main protagonist and make them, and then you would also get I think 2 to 3 starting NPCs that would start with you. And like this is the screen you'll use to kind of find or create and pick out your colonists. This is still in progress too, but you have your skills, your proficiencies, that character's favorite procedural color, childhood and adulthood, what class they are, what race, all that good stuff. And then from here, you would pop into your local world map like you were just seeing and start playing the game. But yeah. If you look into Rimworld or Elin, you'll get the vibes I'm going for. All right, so where we at? And again, this is kind of the graphical style, kind of a pixelated, crunchy look. You got nice crunchy pixels. Crunchy. Pixel art inspired. All right. Where's my item editor? Did I save that? I don't think I saved. I didn't. All right, so basically I'm working on the chest logic and creating the first chest that players can put stuff into and the NPCs can put stuff into. Container, base weight, 20, base value, 50, spoilage max timer, -1. I need to create the prefab for the placeable object. I'll do that in a second. I need to add a container property to it with a capacity of 30. You would make this at a workbench. It would require the skill. The required skill and category on the recipes is going to change because they're right now just magic strings, which is not good. And not how it's going to end up being, but all right, so that's our container item. So I'm going to hit save item and recipe. So now I've created the item definition, the recipe, and the property that is associated with this guy in one fell swoop in one screen. That usually is a ton of clicking and whatnot. So every data point or data object or scriptable object is a sub asset of the chest. So the recipe is a sub asset. So they're all together. And I can't orphan. Like I couldn't delete the chest item and not delete the recipe and the properties associated to it, because your project can get messy if you like have, because there's 3 scriptable objects to represent it: the recipe, the item def, and the property. So this is really proud of my item editor screen I built here. That's how fast it is to build a new item in the game right there. Oh, I didn't put the materials. This will take, for now, just a log or 10 logs. Oops. I'll get more detail with the recipe here in a minute. All right, save. So now I need to create the prefab for it. World object chest. Ooh, ooh. So I have the world object concept, and I think this is meant to reflect actual storage containers, because I have a concept of a pocket dimension. And like, so you have a tent you can throw up when you're out in the world, and the tent you can go inside of, and it's like its own space and container, and you can put stuff in the tent. I don't know if I'm going to keep that concept, but anyways, it's a thing. So this is our prefab. I'm going to take it to 0, 0, 0. So when I'm creating a prefab, I always like to move it. When I'm creating it in the game world, I take it to 0, 0, 0 coordinates before I throw it in as a prefab. Yeah, the world object is the container physically placed in the world, and then a world item is the when you don't place a container, but it's a chest item that's just floating, sitting there in the world, and you can pick it up. Or should chest just always? Let's see, world item, original prefab. I forgot. I guess chest could be loot. An enemy could drop a chest. But the reason I take it to the world space of 0, 0, 0 is when you go into prefab, isolate or editing the prefab by itself, it is got 0, 0, 0 as its position. Although shit, the Y is. Take that to 0 and then save it. So now the transform for the prefab is just a basic or a zeroed out transform. Let's take this guy back over here. Bloop. The world objects register themselves. Okay, so I haven't actually. Well, I really haven't implemented placeable objects yet. Just pick upable objects like loot. This I'm going to have to think on overnight. I mean, it's right, but. So when a character is trying to haul something to a storage container, we're looking for world items. which is loot on the ground that can be picked up instead of world objects. That's going to get confusing. I need to name it differently. I'll probably call it placeable items because then I'm searching. No, this is right because I'm looking. This is whenever the NPC is going to haul something, they're going to look through all the items on the ground, and if it is designated to be hauled, they'll haul it. That's right. This is fine. Now for the action of storage, drop item in storage. This isn't right either. Basically, if an NPC chose drop item in storage, they would just take the very first item in their list and drop it in there, which is not right. So I think I'm going to have the concept of so if an NPC can have equipment and its own set of items. No, I'm not going to get that in depth. Because say like an NPC could carry bandages, and if he has bandages, he will use bandages on you or allies. I will come back to this. I need to rename these. The underscores drive me crazy. I don't like it. Handle, gather, transfer. So now I can put items in the chest. The rest, the NPCs will go look for those items in the chest. Now it still comes down to I want NPCs to be able to craft with loose items on the ground outside of the chest. And I think the answer is no. Yeah. No. Because if there's loose items in the world, they should put them in a chest. Because that's the haul action. So if they're hauling stuff, that means they're picking up crap off the ground that I said, hey, go pick up these items and put them in a container. And because of the concept I was talking about earlier, before I got down this rabbit hole, is your base inventory is a singular inventory. Building new chests and dropping them in your base will only expand that inventory. So NPCs, I don't need to say this chest is only allowed, NPCs are only allowed to put food in this chest, and I don't need to have chests to organize crap, and I don't have to manage it through open. I don't have to walk to this chest looking for this, walk to this chest to look for something, or if you know, if I can't remember where I placed something, instead of you digging through all the chests in your base, chests open up the base inventory, and chests will only add capacity to your base's inventory. And they all open up the same base inventory and have a very powerful filtering and search functionality to find what you want. And like Rimworld, Dwarf Fortress, Elin, you can configure chests like, oh, this chest will only take food items, this chest will only take weapons, and this chest will only take this chest will take everything. All that's gone. Inventory management for your base is simple, has a unified UI, and you just expand the capacity of it. And this keeps you from one, and like I said earlier when I was showing it in Elin, like I don't find joy in like keeping a base organized and placing items in chests around places and having to remember which chest is where and what's in what chest. The base inventory management, this is the paradigm I'm going to follow. And again, employed gamer dad, respecting people's time. I don't know. Like, what do you all think? Like, do you like putting crap in individual chests and managing it? I don't like it, man. Just, especially once your base gets big, man, and you got like tons and tons of chests because you got to have them to keep shit organized. I don't have that. Yeah, like, I'm not doing it. No. Chest only expand your base inventory. They're there visually, and every chest will open up the same UI and let you access any of the items of the base quickly. And you don't have to. Another thing is the crafting stations in your base will automatically know what's in the chest and will allow you to craft anything in that station that is in your chest or on your personal inventory. You don't have to go to every 10 chests or, search 10 chests to find 5 different items to take to the crafting station to make the item. The crafting station is fully aware of what you have in your base storage and your inventory. If you have it, it'll let you craft it right there. There's not a lot of clicking and mousing. Again, carpal tunnel strain. I don't like it. I don't like managing a grid of containers, a ton of grids and containers and organizing items. It ain't me. And it's more controller friendly because I'm going to go with a list inventory that can be menued quickly with a keyboard and menued quickly with a controller. Yes. So I don't need to have chest configuration. There's no point in it. And that reduces the complexity. Because, if you go to, here, I'll go to Elin or Rimworld has the same concept, really. Well, no, without mods, you have storage on the ground in Rimworld, which is weird. But if I come to this chest, I can configure it. I can set, you have to set a priority and what is allowed in here. Now, the auto dump feature I will be adding. Don't use items in this container for crafting. You can easily just flag an item to be ignored by the crafting system. Don't put rotten items. Advanced distribution. See, this is a lot of complexity right here. Just to organize some fucking chests, man. And it's cool, but I don't enjoy this part of the gameplay loop. I don't think it's a time-consuming one. It's carpal tunnel-y. Now, the auto dump is really cool, and I will be implementing that. So basically, if you come back to your base. Anything that isn't favorited in your personal inventory and it is in the base inventory, you can auto dump after you go out on an adventure and hit a dungeon and come back. You can auto dump everything from your personal inventory into the base inventory and then go back out again or get to crafting. I find no value in the micromanagement of tons of grids and containers across the base. Now, another way Elin kind of combats this is I think there's like a search, Control F, yeah. So like, you can search your entire base and then go to that thing that has it. So if I come over here now, like, I would walk to that. I didn't even go away. See, it's a lot of complexity. It's a lot of UI. It's a lot of clicking. For what? Be able to find an item that you just adds no value to the gameplay loop, I don't think. And again, I'm trying to create a game that's controller friendly and, you know, doesn't require shitloads of clicking and menuing or set configuration to just manage items and craft. That is my firm belief. If someone thinks I'm crazy, I don't, tell me. I would love to get more people's feedback on that. Like, if people enjoy organizing shit in chest and then trying to find it and manage it and search for it. I don't think it's conducive to fun. Okay, so that tirade's over. I've created the world object, but the world object really isn't been implemented yet. I think it's time for a check-in. Shit. Oh, it's a big check-in. Fudge. So I added a bunch of assets, medieval village exteriors and interiors, and I converted them to be all crunchy, pixely. But I don't know if I'm committed enough to check those into source control, because that's a lot of items. And again, I brought everything in when I may not leverage every asset. So this is going to create bloat unless I am like 100% committed to using all of these things. Where the hell are they? D Forge. I don't want to check these into the. I mean, it covers a lot of the shit that I would eventually need, but I want to pull from this asset as I need it instead of bringing the entire fucking thing in. And that's why this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to temporarily pull it out of the project so I can check in. So I don't have to commit to it yet. Yeah, that's what I'll do. And again, I'm going to pull it out, put it in a separate project, cherry pick from it when I need stuff. Because I want to keep things lean. I'm thinking about too, separating all the models, textures, and everything like that into a separate repo, and keeping the core repo, the code, and all that good shit. And I may use asset bundles to even make this even more dynamic, to where all the models and stuff are an asset bundle that I can load in and out and stream in and out of the project. I don't have to keep them, because again, right now this folder is at 1.5 or 1 gig. 3D Forge, how big is it? Yeah, most of this folder is this. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to delete all these assets real quick. Well, kind of want to keep some of them, but gotta get rid of them. And then as I need a house or a whatever prop or thing, I'll pull it in. I want to keep shit clean, and I don't want to bring every single asset from this thing, because this is really, the developer or the asset creator of this has done an amazing job. Great stuff. And I will be leveraging it, but I'm not going to check all of that into my project. So let's take it up here. Temp asset folder. Drop it here. Go back in. What else is there? Because I was really just kind of, I was playing with some things, and I brought in a lot of shit that I just, again, I'm trying to be very diligent and keep the project small, clean, because I've rolled all my systems so far. The proc gen, the levels, character controllers, everything is not an asset. The only thing that are assets really are that I've pulled in is 3D models, A-star pathfinding, and asset inventory 3. And I have G-spawn in here, but that's for when I really get to level designing, and G-spawn is a great asset for level design tools to speed up level design, but it's only like, I don't know, 30 megs or something. It's really small. And I've brought some editor enhancement assets too, but I think those are okay to stay. So I'm gonna delete these 3. Oh, fuck, my, the texture for the ground was in there. Oh well. Oh well, we'll just deal with it. I'll fix that. Everything else. Doing some cleanup before the check-in, because I've kind of been moving a little loose and fast. Organization is very important and something I struggle with, especially as I get deeper into projects. but I've been so diligent about it here. What the fuck is this? Same template AdSense. Temp models I'll clean up later. Let me paint the ground real quick before I check in. I'll come back and start doing the village work later. All right, so I've cleaned up the project. Terrain auto upgrade. Layer and sand. What is this shit? Don't think I need that. Any other junk? Okay. What all have I worked on since the last check-in? So I started level design. I added water. Camera controller was the last thing. I've done AI work, NPC, world items, crafting a little bit. Yeah. Clean up project. Crafting. Containers. NPC logic. Update it. Asset inventory. That's good enough for now. All right, now we're clean. Let's go ahead and push. All right, so we're checked in, we're clean. It's probably, what is it, Wednesday? It's 9:30, 9:40. Been streaming for 3 hours. Should I keep going? Oh, thank you, Sir Elf, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm really starting to really feel the art direction, man. It's like coming together. Like the crunchy pixels, the I've got a process for getting all my 3D model assets that I own into a crunchy pixel format to mesh well with the environment. So you got crunchy pixels here, crunchy pixels there. The player character stand-ins look pretty good for now. I'll hit play real quick. Yeah, so that's what's cool about these sprites is they actually do affect lighting affects them. So they are. So I'll add a light to it here real quick. Hold on. So so they actually have normal maps and like the lighting is they do react to lighting. Um, so you got the Octopath Traveler kind of vibes going on with the depth of field in the back there. Um, so that NPC right now, he's going to pick up logs and he's going to the crafting station to make wooden logs for me because I've set the bill in the crafting station. So this is kind of what I was testing right now. So he should craft that and then he should go pick up and eat these floor sandwiches. But I think I got a thing I got to fix because I was changing some code. But yeah, it is coming along. I don't know if you've heard of Rimworld or Elin or Dwarf Fortress, but it's going to be in that kind of vein. Colony sim, life sim, real in-depth features. So I'm just working through AI, right? Your NPC AIs. Yeah, I might add fishing eventually. So I'm checked in. Um, do I want to keep going? Yeah, I've been thinking about the loot, like when it drops on the ground, like how that will, like right now, this log is like representative of, so you would see it kind of bounce, and I think I'm gonna have its sine wave, so anything that's pick upable will kind of do like, kind of float like that. Um, right now, it's just billboards to the screen. Going for that 2.5D vibe. Yeah, and again, I don't want to. Yeah, fishing mini games can be atrocious. I like Stardew Valleys. I don't think is a good one. Is yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm an employed gamer dad in my 40s. Like I'm trying to create a game that can is has the depth of RimWorld and Elin, but is controller friendly, and almost and the entire game can be controlled by the controller from the get go. And I'm trying to any of those tedious things like that would cause you to have to click a billion times, like trying to like take away a lot of that crap. Yep, that's my goal because I really love RimWorld and Elin and stuff, but they are very clicker, like they're keyboard and mouse centric, and my right hand gets messed up. Um, I don't know. I can get it in a weird state if I game keyboard and mouse game that way. Yeah, Winder stack. I use that for all kinds of crap. Yeah, I got a hot mess. This is what ADHD looks like. And that when you have a hard drive. Wiz Tree. I think I've seen that one. Oh, it wasn't too bad. My freaking laptop at work. Holy cow. I cleared off probably 30 gigs of it today, right? And I went to lunch. I came back. Whatever they got going on in the fucking background, most of that freed up space was gone by the time I got back. Some security software is creating giant page files that I can't fucking delete. So I'm constantly like 99% storage, like about to go to the SIP department and be like, what are you doing? I got to get on my new laptop. Yeah, I think WizTree is pretty good. I haven't used it recently, but I've seen someone tell me about that guy. Yes, it is. I'm gonna figure out a way to shut down all that crap or just make it die. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, we got really restrictive laptops at work. I don't do anything on my work laptop. Nice. I used to have local admin rights for everything. Now I got to use. They got this whole new software tool you got to use to even do any local admin work, and the password is so fucking long, and you got to get it from a website, and I just hate it, dude. They keep adding more and more stuff and bogging down my dev box. Good progress tonight. I just got to think. I'm going to continue on this. I want to get the storage containers working to where he is pulling from the storage containers instead of off the ground for crafting ingredients. Yeah. I've got two laptops right now. I got to get off. My new one is way better, has tons of space, has a really high resolution screen, all that goodness, but I just can't let go of the old laptop. I just feel like I'm going to forget there's something somewhere. And if I give him my old laptop, it'll be gone forever and then I'll freaking need it. I have attachment issues right now. It's good progress tonight, though. The storage the containers are almost ready to go. The NPC is more intelligently finding objects based off of the grid cells. I saw they updated the website. Is there like new videos or something? I know that they updated like the landing page. I saw that. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like 30 weeks away. May 26th. Yeah, I believe it once we get within a month or two of it. I'll believe it. And again, I'm good with them letting it cook. Keep cooking it. You don't need to rush that thing. See, that's the problem. My PS5 is with my oldest son who moved out, and every time I got to buy another PS5. But again, I don't want to, man. I just rather play on PC, man. But no, console first. Well, like Death Stranding came out, and I was like, hey, I gotta have it back so I can play that game. But then I kept not playing the game, and he's like, he asked for it again. I was like, ah, just take it back. Yeah, I don't know. And just I'm tired of the consoles. I just want to play on PC. Because they double dip me on stuff like FF7 Rebirth and all that. Like I always buy the collector edition thing, so I got like the statue of Sephiroth and then Cloud, the statue of him. But I bought it on PC too. I got a 4090, an AMD something another. It's pretty decent. Oh man, I think my brain is brained out for the day. I am all caught up on my work at work, so I think the rest of this sprint will be just following up with emails and troubleshooting some stuff. So I'm gonna probably be going hard for the rest of the week in the evenings, and then this weekend I'm gonna be game deving hard again. I need to get a schedule set up. I am the worst about it. I just jump on when I feel like it. Um, yep, that's the yep. Bugs. I love it being the programmer and the one that understands the ancient text because you can kind of, and no one knows what's going on, so you can kind of make, chill or go as fast or as slow as you want sometimes. Corporate America doesn't love you. Don't love them back. I'm always diligent about working every minute of the day. No. As long as I get it done within the deadlines, no one usually worries or gives me any hassle. Yeah, I think I am done for the night. So what I need to finish tomorrow, get the container system fully working.
Awesome. Awesome to the max.
Oh, appreciate you, man. Thanks for the follow. Every little bit helps. Yeah, I'm gonna head out too. Oh, cool. Nice. Midwest for life. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna watch some YouTube and watch game retrospectives or game dev videos and pass out. All right, guys, I'm gonna get off here. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Hit like, subscribe, follows, and all those things. Um, yep, I love video essays like K Bash. Oh, there's just so many YouTubers. I just like retrospectives. I've been watching a lot on the PC98, like this Basement Brothers channel, like him going through PC98 games and shit. It's it's better than YouTube or Netflix and movies and TV. I enjoy that shit way more. All right, guys, I am off. Have a good night. Oh, I know. I love the looking at the old glitches and shit. I like Grand Theft Auto 4 and stuff. But all right, talk to you later.